Well, hello. So today I want to present to you information on Lyme disease and how doTERRA can play a role in preventing a tick bite, and also how doTERRA can support your body in the event that you do get a tick bite. So here we go. A little bit about me. I have a doctorate in natural health, and I have had a natural solutions consulting practice for almost 20 years now. And I'm also a registered nurse, and I am an energy practitioner. And I've been doing that for about 10 years. I've been a doTERRA essential oiler for the past 7 years. And when the doTERRA essential oils came into my life, they really changed everything for me. They changed the way I practiced. Suddenly, by incorporating more essential oils into people's lives, they were able to stop taking many of the nutrition supplements and homeopathics that we used. So that got my attention. And then also the emotional support that doTERRA essential oils offer was incredibly intriguing to me, given the energy practitioner element of the work that I do, and my beliefs that illness really is rooted in fear, and that illness of all kinds has an emotional component to it. We know that fear and other lower vibration emotions lowers our immune system and gives an opening for organisms to come in and enter our system. So with that, let's get started. So what is Lyme really? Lyme is a tick-borne illness. It's an untreated bacteria that can travel through the bloodstream and really establish itself anywhere in the body. When Lyme first made its emergence and we became aware of Lyme, what we discovered is that Lyme often had an affinity for the muscles. So people would tend to feel achy, sore, headaches were common, joint pain. Fatigue was a big keynote of the Lyme picture. And, as we are now progressing with the story of Lyme, we understand that there are many, many co-infectors of Lyme. And so what that means is that when a tick bites a host, so in our case, it would be a human being, and injects the stomach contents into the host, that stomach contents could contain Lyme, or it could contain, in addition to Lyme, many other infectants. So it could contain some additional bacterias or other organisms that may be masking or perhaps adding to the complexity of how the Lyme presents in the body. So therefore, Lyme disease becomes a multi-system inflammatory situation. And in addition to the joints and the things that I've already mentioned, it can cause problems with the skin or the nervous system. Many people who present with particularly chronic Lyme, they are very anxious and overwhelmed. And this new way of operating in the world with this heightened, perhaps impending feeling of impending doom, or as I said, overwhelm, or just this anxious feelings, package of anxious feelings that they are now encountering or working with, can be very, very challenging to navigate. Add to it the chronic pain and discomfort that is often accompanied with Lyme, and then the stress of not really having a clear diagnosis or a clear treatment plan. You can see where this becomes an all-encompassing, overwhelming situation for many. So Lyme disease symptoms, as we already discussed, can vary. And at the time of the creation of this PowerPoint, there were over 20 different symptoms of early onset Lyme, and then over 40 different symptoms of chronic. And now I think we're up over 50 on both accounts. So Lyme is often missed, particularly if you don't see the bullseye rash that is such a keynote of a tick bite. So neuropathy, depression, headaches, sleep issues, chronic pain, fatigue, neck pain, the chills, sweating, fever, so rashes, feeling as though you are, quote, coming down with something, and then feeling as though you may be getting better from that, and then all of a sudden, a week or two later, maybe a month later, 6 weeks later, you are feeling as though you are coming down with something again. These are keynotes of the possibility that Lyme may be what your body is up against. So can doTERRA help? Of course, I think so. So let's dive in and see what types of products may be a beginning stage support for you. So first, prevention. Prevention is always the best key, right? Always the first line of defense. If we can prevent something from happening, we don't compromise any of the integrity of the body or the body systems. And so this is always the best approach. So TerraShield from doTERRA is the repellent blend, and it contains these elements here listed in the ingredients: ylang ylang flower, nootka, wood, cedar wood, catnip, lemon eucalyptus, litsea, arbor vitae, vanilla bean absolute, and it's in a base of fractionated coconut oil and tamanu seed oil. The tamanu seed oil is a special one to note as a carrier oil because tamanu originates from South America, and it has also some sunscreen support. So when you're using TerraShield on the skin directly, I love this spray version that you see here in the picture. It's very easily sprayed on the skin, and you can rub it in and feel confident that you're getting some level of sun protection from the tamanu oil. Now, this is not a sunscreen replacement. If you are someone that typically burns when you're in the sun, then you may want to be adding other essential oils to this as well, such as lavender and helichrysum. But the TerraShield itself, because of the tamanu seed oil, it does have a low-grade protection there. The other thing that you can add to the TerraShield if you wish, or you can make a complete blend all on your own, is additional essential oils to help either up-level the effectiveness or create a wider bandwidth for yourself. So those essential oils might include geranium, lemon eucalyptus, cedar wood, and citronella. Now I know cedar wood and lemon eucalyptus are already in this blend, but some people like to add a little bit more. It's all personal preference. Personally, I use the TerraShield all by itself. I spray my hands and then pet my dog's legs and the underbelly. I also do the same to pet the underbelly of my cats and then the backs of their neck. And it provides great support and repellent for the ticks and also the mosquitoes. I do love adding a little dab of geranium in there to help with repelling mosquitoes. Remember, you can add the 15 ml version as well as a combination of any of those other oils I mentioned to a diffuser. Put that diffuser out on your porch or your patio, your deck, and you will have a wonderful aroma and also support lowering the mosquito and black fly population in that particular area. When you combine the diffusion with application of the oil directly on the skin, it really up levels that protection and helps to prevent those bugs. Now, this is a natural resource, and so it means that we're going to have to apply perhaps more frequently. So, for example, the black fly season is here in New England, and it's like no other season that I'm aware of. And so when I was working in the yard and digging in the dirt during black fly season, I was applying the doTERRA Shield sometimes every 15 minutes, sometimes hourly. Sometimes you can apply it every 3 hours, 4 hours. So really it depends. If you're going to be walking through the woods, then make sure that you're spraying your boots, your sneakers, your shoes that you're wearing, your socks, your pant legs, and do spray those areas often. And I like, of course, to put it around my ears and then through my hair to prevent the ticks from hopefully landing on my body. And despite whatever you choose to use to hopefully repel the ticks and other bugs on your body, it is critically important that you're doing tick checks when you get home. So make sure that you're turning those clothes inside out, that you're really checking your skin, shaking out the hair, and then of course making sure that we're checking those furry friends. One great way to check your pets is to get a lint roller, one of those Scotch brands or a generic brand, and roll your pet against the hair and then with the hair. And you will find that if there are any tiny, tiny ticks, particularly those that are the size of pepper flakes, it's a great way to pick those up and get them off our pets as quickly as possible, and then of course off ourselves. So I've already mentioned these additional oils. Purify, lemongrass, and rosemary are perhaps a couple that I did not mention that you may want to use. And again, you can use these in any combination that you choose. Remember, our chemistry is different than everybody else on the planet. We each have our very own chemistry, just like we have our own fingerprint and our own genetics. So, each of the essential oils has their own chemistry. So sometimes it can take a little bit of trial and error and experimenting to identify what that perfect combination is. But I like to keep that doTERRA Shield and combination of oils at the doorways in my home. And then I have one in my car and of course in my bag, so that we can make sure that we are able to put those on when we go out into the yard and when we go for a walk or hike or out in nature in any way. So the conclusion of Lyme disease really is that it's a multifaceted situation, and should we get bit by a tick, should we find out that we have Lyme disease or the potential of Lyme disease, then we need to have a multifaceted approach. And by multifaceted, that means physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual support needs to be in that. So let's say you have a tick and you found a tick. The first thing is that we want to remain calm. However, we want to remove the tick as quickly as possible. So new studies show that a tick that is attached to the body or your pet typically will not release or transmit infective material for up to 36 to 48 hours. So again, this checking, this prevention is going to be the key. But we can't always prevent. And so what we want to do is remove the tick as quickly as possible and try with all of our intention to get the head removed. So you can use a pair of tweezers. However, what you want to be careful of when you're using the tweezers is that you're getting really close to your skin, because we don't want to squeeze the belly of the tick. There's been some controversial information about removing a tick with peppermint oil. Peppermint oil will back the tick out of the body. However, some people believe that it will regurgitate beforehand because of the stress. Other people do not. So I'll just put that out there as a possible option. The bottom line is, however you remove that tick, the goal is to hopefully not have it regurgitate into you. So if you can remove it with your fingernails, great, without squeezing the belly. If you can remove it with a tick remover tool or with tweezers, that's great. And then if it's really stuck in there, you may want to try the peppermint oil. Personal belief is that with early onset support, then your body has a really great opportunity to be able to come back into balance. One of the most common ways that human beings contract Lyme disease is not actually from picking the tick up from outside in nature, but it's often from picking the tick up from our pets. And so what typically happens is the pet carries the tick inside, and the pet has the tick attached to its body. The tick does fill up with blood, falls off the pet and is still alive and is searching for that next warm host for it to attach to, finds us, attaches to us, and then regurgitates the stomach contents, which puts us at risk for whatever co-organisms are in that particular tick. Now, the problem with this, of course, there's many, but the big picture problem is that typically that tick takes less than 24 hours to regurgitate once it attaches itself to a second host. So herein lies the issue, right? So if we get a tick from outside and it's been on us for 24 hours, then we typically can pull that tick off, and we can be more certain, more confident that it hasn't regurgitated the contents of its stomach. However, when it comes from a pet, that time limit is definitely shortened. So just things to be thinking about. We really want to make sure that we're checking our pets, and we're providing the oil support to those pets to hopefully cut down on the risk. All right, so you got the tick out. And so now my tools that I like to use to put on that tick bite is Purify. I like to put it on right away, and I also like to put it on frequently. So all of these oils, whatever you happen to use, I typically will apply those oils every 10 minutes or every 15 minutes for the first 1 to 3 hours. So that means I'm applying Purify, and then On Guard, and then frankincense, and then Melaleuca and Melissa. And then about 15 minutes later, I'm coming back to those oils and applying them again. And then again, 15 minutes and then 15 minutes. So for 3 hours, this is the pattern. If you were to blend all these oils together, my preference would be to apply the Purify first, and then mix the On Guard, frankincense, Melaleuca, and Melissa together with some fractionated coconut oil, and you can apply that on top of the Purify. That would be my personal preference. You can certainly mix them all together as well. So once you've done this for 3 hours, the next step would be hourly or every couple of hours for approximately 3 days while you're awake. And then after that, it goes to about 3 times per day of this same regimen. Now, I'm assuming that over the course of this time period, the tick bite is looking better and better. And if you see the large ring, even if you don't see the large ring, you may want to seek out medical support so that you can take the doxycycline, which is the typical antibiotic that is prescribed with early onset to help support the elimination of the Lyme disease. Oregano, thyme, and eucalyptus and fractionated coconut oil. I love this blend because of its immune support properties. The blend that I previously mentioned with the On Guard frankincense and melaleuca and melissa also has immune support properties. But the oregano, thyme, and eucalyptus are very specific to certain types of organisms. And so I love to apply this as well. And I will start that as early as I possibly can too, and might even layer it on top of the On Guard frankincense, melaleuca, and melissa blend. Slim and Sassy soft gels have been shown in studies to be able to break down biofilms. So biofilms are areas in the body that are create kind of this mucus type environment. Think of like the consistency of like aloe vera gel, right? It has this thick, almost sticky consistency. And it's a great place for organisms to hide in our body. And there's been some demonstration that Slim and Sassy soft gels have an affinity for these particular areas in the body to be able to kind of break them up. So the way I like to think of it, the analogy I use is it's the police officers coming in to break up the party. And so think of Slim and Sassy as support to the entire system, and that can be used on a daily basis. And then you have your GX Assist and your PB Assist or PB Assist Junior. So your GX Assist and PB Assist are your probiotics, and they work together. So your GX Assist is a really good cleaner-upper. So you think of this as the sweeper, and I like to have take this at night. One before bedtime is what I typically use myself. And then the PB Assist is your probiotic. And personally, I like to take one of these in the morning on an empty stomach. And then, of course, the Lifelong Vitality Pack. If you're not already taking the Lifelong Vitality Pack, it's a great time to add that in. And if you are already taking the Lifelong Vitality Pack, you might consider adding in an extra dose. So one of the things that I've learned through the years being a natural solutions consultant and also an energy practitioner is that our beliefs, our self-image, and our perceptions play a significant role in how we respond to what we are exposed to in our environment. So in every single client that I've ever worked with who has shown up with chronic Lyme, one of the elements that we've worked on in energy work is the element of being nervous or overwhelmed with the thought of Lyme happening to them. So in a sense, they've held a kind of a victim mentality of fear around getting sick. And so the energy work piece and the essential oils has been very helpful in supporting their transition from seeing it in that way to opening up to other perspectives. So Bruce Lipton, one of my favorites, he is a scientist, a doctor, and he spoke and shared that our beliefs control our bodies, our minds, and thus our lives. And we are complex beings. And in the presence of illness, there's always an emotional issue that creates an opening that allows a disease or chronic illness or other issue to, quote, enter the body. And if it's left unaddressed, the body will continue to try to get your attention through other physical symptoms. Bruce Lipton's research has demonstrated that our emotions and our thoughts and our beliefs, they impact the cell wall. The cell wall is a very, very important structure to our cells, and the cell wall information that it holds and receives, it gets transmitted into the cell and the structures within the cell, and then those structures then respond to the information on the cell wall. And that includes our emotions and our thoughts. And so I think this is just an important thing to think about. You know, we've all been around people who are worried about getting ticks on them. And, you know, if you really watch and pay attention, in my experience, what happens is the people who are worried about it and thinking about it and concerned about it are typically the ones that return back home and have found ticks on them. And those who are confident that they can repel those ticks, as well as other things, they typically don't find ticks on their body very often. So it's an interesting phenomena. So he also said the problem is not the problem is our attitude about the problem. And this is so true in every aspect of our lives, right? So is there an oil for that? We've talked about the oils in terms of what we would do at the first onset of a tick bite, but there are also some oils. Every oil carries an emotional drive to it. You know, if we think of our plants as having personalities, just as we human beings have personalities, we can start to see and understand the emotional aspects and the support that these plants can give us from that perspective. And so here's a short list of some of these oils that offer support, both, of course, physically, and then here is some of the emotional support that they offer. So thyme helps us to build trust in ourselves, trust in our physical body. Melaleuca helps us to feel safe and protected. Purify brings us confidence and reminds us that we're enough. Eucalyptus gives us inner strength and resolve, helps us to let go of different patterns. Melissa moves us into a space of fearlessness. And then clary sage offers wisdom and self-trust and self-love. So again, in conclusion, Lyme is a multifaceted concern, and it does require a multifaceted approach. And we're not defenseless. I love, love, love having doTERRA essential oils and products in my home that I can reach for, that I know are safe, they're supportive, and they can have an impact, a potential impact on all aspects of my body. In terms of the information of wellness. So physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I strongly believe that these essential oils can help to bring balance and restore wellness because of that balance. All right. So I hope that you find this, this presentation supportive and helpful to you in navigating those ticks out there. And I wish you an amazing spring and summer and fall, winter too, but that's the time that we can celebrate that there are no ticks typically. All right, you can find me at www.khevolution.com. You may want to go and sign up for my email because I do send out frequent emails once a week, and many of those contain some oil suggestions and support. And then keep coming back here to YouTube so that you can continue to explore some of the videos that are offered up to help you in your journey with essential oils. Thanks.